Joe Burrow has a message for the Bengals front office. It's a strong message, a clear message. I'll react to it. You'll hear from Joey B right now on CBT. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com here at Paycor Stadium, where the Bengals preparing for a must-win matchup against the Steelers. And yet, the talk, the discussion is all about, well, at least a lot about, what Joe Burrow said about the front office over the past 24 hours or so. And he said it on Tuesday. Happy New Year, by the way. Thanks to everyone that supported this channel and supported our sponsors. By the way, this video brought to you by Rivertown Inquiry. But it's really cool to see the channel grow, and it's cool to see Joe Burrow grow. And that's where I want to start this, is because Joe Burrow said something that we've all talked about, that we've said on this channel multiple times. And so here's what Joe Burrow said when asked about former teammates going on and having success elsewhere, what goes through his mind and his thoughts when that happens.
Yeah, whenever a great player leaves, you wish you could have found a way to keep them. You don't want to make a living out of letting great players leave the building. And I think that's why you got to do everything you can to get those deals done early.
Paying guys early. That's the key part. Joe Burrow hesitates, thinks about it, and he's like, yeah, that's why you got to get those deals done early. And we've talked about this. If you get Jesse Bates done after his third year in the NFL, well, now you're having discussions this offseason about a third extension or a third contract with Jesse Bates because he's playing so well. And he would have been a bargain over the past couple of years. Tee Higgins, if you'd gotten his deal done 2 years ago, well, the wide receiver market has boomed. You'd feel great about having Tee Higgins on whatever deal you would have signed him to. Jamar Chase, this past year, if you had gotten something done last, let's say August, let's say July, it would have felt a little different. And so that's where I'm at. I think that's where Joe Burrow's at. And it's interesting because we've talked about it. Fans have talked about it. Everybody's talked about it. Like getting deals done early and the advantage it gives you. Well, now Joe Burrow saying it, and it's something that it's a pattern now where Joe Burrow's talked about Tee Higgins multiple times. By the way, he said that it's basically not in the plans to lose Tee Higgins, for Tee Higgins to be playing in his final game on Saturday night with the Bengals. He was like, oh, yeah, that's not in the plans. Obviously, it's possible, but it's not in the plans. It's basically what Joe had to say. And the entire video we posted on Tuesday, it's just really interesting because you see Joe now saying, all right, I'm the most important person in the building. And he's not saying that, but I will. He's the most important person in the building, and he knows they have to be aggressive to get deals done with these high-end players. And part of that means guaranteed money and the structure of these contracts. You're going to have to give Jamar Chase huge guaranteed money. We know that. You're going to have to give Tee Higgins huge guaranteed money. We know that. And so I like it. I understand it. It makes sense. I believe the front office feels it, understands the pressure. And by the way, I think that they'll want to keep Tee Higgins this offseason. It's not like Joe's doing a disservice and trying to get them to pay his buddy that isn't good at football a lot of money. No. Tee Higgins has been awesome. He's averaging 78 yards per game. That's a career high. 10 touchdowns on the season despite playing in 11 games, career high. His previous career high touchdowns-wise was 7. And so Tee Higgins has been awesome this year, even with all the injuries that people are focused on. And when he plays on Saturday night, and he's going to play, he will have played in at least 12 games in all 5 of his NFL seasons. We're not talking about a guy that's playing in 6 games here, 5 games here. This guy plays in games. He's dealt with some soft tissue injuries, no doubt, but he plays in games, and he's certainly coming into his own and making a big impact. Today's video is brought to you by Rivertown Inquiry. I'm going to tell you exactly what Rivertown Inquiry is, but before I do that, up next, I'm going to explain how Joe Burrow fits into this. Should he restructure his deal? I see a lot of people like, oh, well, Joe should restructure. What does restructure mean? We'll get into that. I'll explain that coming up next. But you have to check out Rivertown Inquiry, rivertowninquiry.com. is the place to go if you're out of town. If you're in Cincinnati, well, you could check out their Findlay Market location, their Oakley location. You're talking about quality. You're looking for quality apparel, quality T-shirts, quality hoodies, quality hats, quality Tiger Rocks glasses, my go-to bourbon glass. You can get all of that at Rivertown Inquiry, rivertowninquiry.com. So check them out today, whether it's orange and black, whether it's Bearcat, Xavier, FC Cincinnati. They're going to have exactly what you need to wear to every game on game day. Check them out. Again, rivertowninquiry.com. All right, a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, Joe, if you want them to pay both of these guys, restructure your deal. Of course Joe Burrow would restructure his deal. Restructuring is just moving around numbers on a paper for Joe. And you restructure your deal, it's not going to impact his bottom line. But what it'll do is it'll free up more cap space for the Bengals. The one thing I will say is the Bengals, once they make a few obvious cuts this offseason, they're going to have $80 to $100 million in cap space. They're going to have a ton of cap space already. They can free up $21 million up to that by restructuring Joe's contract. Maybe they will. From a cap space perspective, to give them that much more, and they should. And I don't think there would be any doubts, any discussion from Joe's side of, or hesitation rather, of him restructuring his deal. I think he would totally be open to that. So if people that say that, just know that, yeah, I think he would be willing to restructure his deal. Make sure you check out Enter the Jungle. We recorded or posted that show New Year's Eve. No days off for Andrew Fox-Miller or myself. Thank you so much for supporting our channel. And for Andrew, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk.